don't worry about what the method is. Pick the platform that you're actually going to follow through on.
Find a niche, stay in that niche. You don't have to be funny at all, but you better have knowledge and you better be offering people, you know, something that is worth their time to watch.
Video content is the best form of content you could do.
Still photo versus video. Video blows it away in terms of engagement.
If they like both my Facebook page and my Instagram account, there's a good chance that they're going to see the same content, and I don't want to make it feel like I'm not paying attention and fostering unique conversations in each of those platforms.
Building out your own identity and staying true to yourself, and then consistency are like the two most important things.
So this is Jenna KUTCHER, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thank you. I'm so excited.
I am too. Most people listening to this would like to grow their following and influence somehow. How'd you do it, and what would you tell them to start with in doing it?
So my first thing is if you have a follower, you have influence. So I hate the term influencer. When anyone uses it, I'm like, we are all influencers. My gosh, if you're waiting to start your message so you have 10,000 followers, your message should be started now. Somebody the other day scrolled all the way back to the beginning of my feed.
Yeah.
It is hilarious.
Really?
But I've never deleted a thing because I want people to see the transformation, but I also want them to see that 8 years ago I was talking about the same things I'm talking about today. How this all happened is because, and I think that you can relate to this, is I put it all out there. I mean, I talk about cellulite, I talk about wrinkles, I talk about this stuff because we're all thinking it. And I think it started as a coping mechanism because I was afraid that people would call me out for it. So if I say it first, it doesn't hurt as bad.
Wow.
If I say, look, I see my cellulite there, or I see those extra pounds, you can't say that and hurt me. But what it's become is a true celebration. Like, I feel better today in my skin, in my business, in my body, in my life, because now I own it and like it's me. It's I trust that. But I think over the years I've just shared it all.
Was this intentional? Because you have this ability to monetize in your business, and I don't feel like you're monetizing. So I know this is sort of an inside baseball type thing here, but is that intentional of you? Did you start out, I'm on Instagram, I'm going to profit from this?
No.
Or it started out in this mode and then just sort of over time turned into a business that you're running?
So I heard 2 years ago that the average millionaire has 7 revenue streams, and I made 8. Every piece of my world is so intentional, but I never approached things because of that.
Okay.
What I think my gift is that if I care about something enough to sell it to someone, I'm going to tell it like I would tell a friend. The way that I write, the way that I share emails, the way that I pitch anything to is who really needs this? How do I communicate that? Because I'm doing a disservice if I'm not actually getting through. You know, I'll jump on Instagram Live and put on my makeup and talk to people about something I'm selling. But it's because I care. Like, if this is for you, I don't want you to miss this. I genuinely care about that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's all intentional, but not every post is for every person. Not every selling point is to make a sale on every one. It's just to make sure that I hit the right people with the right message.
How does the average person watching this who says, you know what, like, I'm at my job right now, I'm in this corporate thing, this sounds cool.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, you control your time now. You've made 7 figures, got a great husband, a great baby.
Yeah.
And they're like, I have no idea what the heck I would do though.
Yeah.
You know, how do I start a business, you know? And that's a question I don't ask enough on this show of somebody, and you are perfect for this.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone who's like, I want to get out of this, the corporate ladder I'm climbing, no matter how high I get, it's up against someone else's building.
Yeah.
I get to the top, someone else owns the building. Right? That's the problem. And that's not a challenge. If you're in the corporate world and you want to be there and you're loving it, wonderful. But for many of you, you're like, I'd like to get off this ladder eventually. What would you say?
So everyone has a superpower.
Okay.
Most of us are too close to our genius to recognize it's that. So when you can get people to speak into your life and to share those genius spots, to remind you what you're good at, what you're passionate about, what you've experienced. I just shared with some of my students the other day, I said, if I were starting over, if I were that girl back in that windowless office, what kind of things were happening in my life? I was training for a marathon, I was getting married, I could teach people about the things I was learning about. So when you think about life, so much of it is either things that we're learning or experiences we've had. And we've gone through something that we've cared enough about to learn more. I went through miscarriage. I had to go gluten-free. I mean, there's like a million things I could impact the world with. But to me now, I either learned it out of necessity or passion. But I never recognized that it's a gift, that it could help somebody. And I always say this, that time for me is my currency. I'm done with money. Like, I have more money than I ever thought was possible. I don't want for anything, but time is what I want for. So if I could save somebody time,
yes,
that's where I'm showing up. So what could anyone do today that could save someone else time or heartache or give them joy? You could teach someone how to macrame. You could teach someone how to cook freezer meals. You could teach someone how to manage their time better. Like, I think the problem with the business world these days is everyone feels like they have to come to the table with something that will make someone else money.
So do I.
But they're not realizing that the gift of time should be the selling point on everything.
Oh boy, no one's ever said that, Jenna, on here. You're 100% right about that.
Yeah.
I also think that they think I should have already had to make millions monetizing this for it to have value.
You got to be one step ahead. One step ahead. I think one of the biggest learning moments in this for me was when we were going through our fertility struggle, and I was just sharing what was happening as it was happening. And it was, looking back now, like, it was like a bleeding wound. It wasn't a scar. Like, I was showing up in like the mess. But then I started to see, like, you know, I'm doing all this research and I'm working with doctors. I'm trying to figure this all out. And if I can just start sharing it, it could change the world. And I just think that there are so many things that life has brought us that have led us to learn or to ingest or to become or to get better at. And we just think, oh, well, I don't know, everyone knows this.
Right. Yeah.
No, everyone doesn't know it.
Man, you're so right.
So I look at everything as, how can I save people time? Because to me, time is money, but time is like life.
You know, it's funny when you say that. It's funny. I think that's kind of what I do. Like my content typically is saving someone the time of going through all the experiences I've had to go through to acquire whatever knowledge on a topic that's really good. All right, some pinpointed stuff here. And then I want to talk about, if you would, some stuff that's more specific for women and all of the men. You need to listen into this part when we get there. But before we get there, just for a second, let's give them a couple tactical things. I want to grow my social media. I want to grow my social media, period. That's my objective. I'm listening. I'm going to go through more than just that in a second, everybody. One or two things, because you're really good at this.
Show your face.
Okay.
I did an experiment where I committed to showing my face for 30 days in a row on my feed.
Okay.
My engagement doubled. My engagement tripled. My growth doubled in 1 month.
Wow.
Because a lot of times we're consumed with showing up perfect and pretty and all these things. People don't know whose voice they're listening to anymore. People don't know why I should care. And here's the thing. I don't think that I'm the most stunning woman in the world. I got so much confidence by showing up and committing to, you know, here I am today. Here's a picture of me doing life. I got memories that now looking back, I'm like, dang, look at, like, we were eating pizza and like, what a great day. But I also got the chance to recognize that I matter. And I think that connection is so often lost on social media. And so the number one thing, I challenge everybody watching and listening, go through your feed and look at the posts that have the most engagement, and I will bet you your face is in them because people care about you.
Whoa. 100% right. Even a goofy face like mine, when my face is in it, it gets more engagement. That's brilliant. Okay, next thing. Here we go. I'm thinking of starting a podcast or a blog. Should I? Who should? And if I do either of those, how do I get anybody to see it? That's a toughie.
I mean, we do both in my business. And I think blogging is not dead. Let me just put that out there. But I think what we have to look at is, what is your lowest barrier to entry? What excites you? What are you going to actually commit to? Because the problem isn't the platform. The problem is you keeping a promise to yourself. And so I think a lot of times people go so gung-ho and they're like, I'm going to send out 1 email a week and I'm gonna blog 3 times, and then all of a sudden 2 weeks in, you're either burnt out or you're like, this is way harder than I thought. So don't worry about what the method is. Pick the platform that you're actually gonna follow through on.
Okay.
You can expand, you can grow, you can evolve, you can change. But I think what's so important is that you start sharing your message. Even if it just starts in, here's my challenge that I do every day. This is good. Is I challenge myself to share 1 minute of my day every day on Instagram stories. Whatever that minute is, if it's me with the baby, if it's me talking to the camera, just 1 minute. Let people in for 1 minute.
Okay.
You're gonna get more comfortable. But it's not about the platform, it's about the promise. And it's mostly about the promise you keep to yourself, that you have a story worth sharing, that it's valid, and that you can actually keep up with something.
Okay, so the Gold Digger podcast, I want to talk about this too. What's made that the success that it's been? Because it's one of the most popular podcasts in the world. Why?
Well, let me let you in on an insider's secret. I record that in a closet, like an actual closet with boxes. My computer is propped up on a stroller box, and you can't really get into the door because there's like stuff there. I mean, it is a small closet. This is not a walk-in closet, okay?
That's incredible.
The podcast is what it is because of that. Because I never lost where I started. I mean, I started that podcast recording in my car. And to this day, I record in a closet so that I can be close to my baby. And if she needs me, I'm right there. And so that is like the core of it. And I joked with you today. I said, we were driving over here. I said, babe, do you think we should get the Uber Black? And he goes, I don't know. How much more does it cost? I said, $100. I don't know. You know, we've never lost that piece of ourselves. Everything is so humble about what we do. I record on a $100 microphone.
I love this.
It's not about the method. It's about the message.
Traditional social is heavy filters, right?
Yeah.
Look at my jet.
Exactly.
We're having a blast and everything's perfect.
Right.
And so millions of people watch that type of social media content and go, I can't post this stuff. Everything's not perfect.
Exactly.
Right? I am not perfect. I don't have a jet. Why would someone want to listen to my stuff? I actually think in the world, you're proving it. You have way more engagement and followers than people who have jets and helicopters and mansions because you're documenting the funny stuff of life. And I don't even think it has to be funny. I actually think if there was a woman who's listening to this and she starts documenting the struggle with getting dressed in the morning, getting her kids off to school. Tell me if you agree with this, Ryan, because you're the guru.
Yeah.
And then like she misses a sale at work and she's on there and she's upset. She goes, I missed work and I'm late picking the kids up. And you almost start rooting, becoming a fan of this person because they document their life. Am I wrong about that?
That's exactly what I would say, which is, we were discussing earlier about, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And of course, I think, when we're having children, I think it'd be great to document, just funny things, like funny things of her being pregnant. There's funny trends even going around right now where the man is taping watermelons to his belly and trying to do everyday things like tie his shoe. But I think millions of people find it just so interesting and just real. Like you said, it's everyday stuff that couples go through, whether it's fighting or different moods or when she's on her period or, obviously we do exaggerate a little bit to add the comedy thing, but it's so relatable that they're just...
That's what, to me, that's the funny in your stuff.
The relatability is always key. But when we're doing those skits, I can't just sit there and write in a notebook all these ideas. They just come to me and I will write a very basic idea. And then when the camera's on, she'll come up with something that would be so funny, we throw it in, and then I come up with something, and then all of a sudden you just got a big viral and people are like, wow, this is just...
I want to talk about viral, but I want to ask you this. So there's someone watching this, they go, I'm not funny.
Yeah.
So my thing isn't funny. My thing is interesting, or my thing is like, I like goldfish or whatever, right?
Yeah,
my thing is that. Do you recommend they take time once a week, the average person listening to this, and just write out concepts for things they could create like you do? What would your advice be?
My biggest piece of advice is niche. Stay in your niche.
Yeah.
Find a niche and stay. We're a couple. Not going to veer outside of that. I'm a couple. Stay in a niche. If you want to do goldfish, you better know
everything.
Every single thing about the goldfish. Every single thing. Pieces of content every single day. And you know so much about goldfish that if someone in the whole entire world wants to know something or something's going on, you're the person that they're going to contact because they want to know about the goldfish. I think just becoming the best at a specific thing, like niche, Me and her, give me something. Go give me a rock from your yard and I'll make something viral with your rock.
Great advice.
Sticking with one niche, whether it's gaming's a very big industry, or whatever. I think people don't stick with the niche long enough and they get outside of it.
Right.
I think the niche is like my biggest piece of advice. Find a niche, stay in that niche. You don't have to be funny at all, but you better have knowledge and you better be offering people, you know, something that is worth their time to watch. There's a huge business part, but not just the business, then there's also the algorithm part. So that is like the biggest thing I think people are missing. Remember recently Clubhouse has become big.
Yes.
I think it's on the decline now or whatever.
I was going to say, it seems like the last several months I've heard less. I just said that the other day to somebody.
Came in, kind of left, but I would go on Clubhouse here and there and like people would spend 3 hours just talking about hashtags. Like a hashtag can definitely help you a little bit, of course, if you're doing it correctly, you know. By the way, I recommend like 3 to 5 hashtags.
Really?
That's my recommendation, not 50.
Why?
Because you have to think of specific, right? I know that Instagram, I believe, allows up to 20. I've never even come into that territory. But when you have all kinds of different things, it doesn't really know where to put you.
Okay.
So you want to keep your hashtags 3 to 5. I usually use 2 really big, like love, couple, then a niche, hammy TV, and then more not as viral hashtags, a little bit smaller just to mix it up. But I just stick to 3 to 5.
Very good.
Just because you're going to confuse the algorithm. But the point of that is that instead of sitting there talking all this time about hashtags, just go film the content. That's really the biggest thing. And that's one thing that her and I have is we're extremely persistent. We're on a honeymoon, we're still posting. Whatever it is, we are posting no matter what. We've never even taken 2 weeks off of posting in years.
Not even a week.
Yeah, persistence is the biggest.
So this is Amanda CERNY, everybody. Thank you for being here.
No, of course.
Let's talk about some hardcore social media stuff. So you went from, let's give some tips to people that are like, I got 27 followers, I want 270, right? Or I want to move forward. So what are some of the keys, like, let's talk platforms. So Vine got yanked from you when you were dominating there, and you've now managed to just parlay that into just, I mean, I read this thing, they get 1 million a month new follower on Instagram for you. That's just like unreal to me, right? So what would you say to somebody who wants to grow their following? Is there a particular platform you think is the best one? Should they be on all of them? What would you say to certain people?
Be on every single one, be on the new ones, look in the App Store, see different ones that are coming out and semi-relevant, not a lot of people know about it, and be the first on that one, you know. It is a lot about timing. It's really hard to grow on Instagram now and Facebook, but you still can, but it's a lot harder than in the beginning because not many people knew to make video content. I would say video content is the best form of content you could do, besides audio as well, because a lot of people consume content
audio-wise, but on Instagram, I agree. Still photo versus video. Video blows it away in terms of engagement. I totally get that.
And a lot of relatable content, whether it be, depends what you want to do. If you're a business trying to grow, think of things that people struggle with or the solution that you have as a brand, or look for other influencers if you have a budget to do influencer marketing, like reach out to those people that have, you know, similar interests as your company. And so I would say it's consistent content, and that's huge. You can't post once a month and expect to grow.
What's consistent to you? Something every day?
Yeah, I would say you have to post every day. You really need to invest in your social media because now it's a huge part of every single business that's out there today. So I can only think of probably a small handful that it isn't relevant for.
I know.
So I would say really invest in your social media, your website. That's huge too, especially for search engines when people are trying to find things. Look into SEO, look for people that are very knowledgeable about social media as well and can help you with when people are searching for things. Run ads. Ads are great because now they have it on when even just a Google search or in the App Store, like you can put yourself as the banner. But if you don't have a budget, which a lot of startups don't really have, you just gotta think of innovative ways to make unique entertaining content. And if you have to make it yourself, like I did, then
that's the thing about your stuff. So there's a couple things I noticed about you. So one, it's entertaining, number one, and people go, well, that's her space. Nah, all of your content has to be somewhat entertaining, but just there's been a lot here, so I just want to go through this. One, it's consistent. Two, more video than just still stuff. I watch people's feeds that are just still photos. It's like dead to me. There's no, I don't understand that. Like,
people want to know and see and hear and really like be a part of it. Like with just the photo, it's something you see, you scroll, you forget. With the video, it kind of resonates, and
that's huge.
Yeah.
And I know people out there like, I can't create video content every day in my business. No, but you need to create some more than you do, right?
But then again, they can. You know, at the same time, it's hard. It is a lot of work, but it's something, if I'm able to do it by myself and have no idea how to edit or shoot or anything, and just do it on a phone at first, like if that's your style, do it and just start producing that content.
I agree with you, by the way. I totally agree. Like, and by the way, the amount of work that goes into what you're doing, I have such admiration for, because I know what it's like to produce content daily, and really great content like you produce, with the shooting and the editing and the concept and the writing and all the things that you do in your space are just, it's magnificent what you do. And I think the audience also appreciates to some extent the work you do. A couple little things I noticed on your social that's interesting. I just want to know if you did this on purpose. So just for more tips. Your website's beautiful, but when I went to your website, like immediately it showed me your social media stuff too. So like you weren't wasting time with a bunch of BS. You're like, here's where else you can engage with me, right? And then also like your YouTube, right when I go to YouTube, here's where else you can engage with me. Is that done tactfully and purposely?
For sure. You're wanting to build a community, and if somebody is over a certain page, or if they use another platform, why not follow you there? Because if you're having somebody that subscribes to your YouTube, they're probably going to be interested in your Instagram, and why not have them see you every day on Instagram as well, because you're just building a stronger fan or an even stronger customer, you know. So.
Do you release, last thing on social for now, but do you release at the same time? Like I've noticed for me, like not only is my group sort of expect me to release daily, but they kind of get used to about the time I release, and the times I violate that window, my engagement level drops. Is that true for you?
It's huge. Mostly for YouTube, I would say it's important. For Instagram, I don't think so as much. It just depends. You have to look at your location where your following is and post when people wake up. You know?
Is that right? Is that wake up is about?
Yeah, I mean, that was my strategy. Everybody has a different theory on it, and honestly, when I'm posting on my accounts, I don't time out my Instagram posts. I just post it whenever I feel like it. Sometimes I post 3 times a day, sometimes I post 1 time a day. So, but I think it's different once you have grown that large following, then people just appreciate you posting in general. So it's nice. You have to work for it. I remember on Vine though, when I first started posting, I was like, okay, I have to post at 3 a.m. every single day. So I was posting at 3 a.m., making sure I was up, setting my alarm and posting, because you couldn't, with Instagram, it was like the worst. You couldn't schedule anything. You had to edit like on a hack version of the app, and it was just a pain. But I would say timing's important if you're new or using YouTube.
Okay, wow, that's great stuff. Okay, let's talk about you now a little bit. Now they all want to know more about you. So how do you determine like what you'll promote? So you must get hit up constantly for promotional stuff. How do you determine, obviously part of it's money, I'm sure, but like how do you determine what you'll promote, what you'll put your name on now?
Well, no, especially because a lot of different brands do reach out to me now. I'm able to be super, super selective, and I don't have that financial need that I needed when I was in college. So at the same time, I'm able to now really look at a brand, and I don't really like doing one-off posts and one-off deals with brands, just because it's as if I was following myself and I just saw me posting about 1 million things, like I would lose the trust in that person, just because they weren't being organic, and it's not loyal. It's not, you can see right through it, you know? And it's easy checks, but at the same time, I'm thinking long term. So I'd rather do collaborations with brands that I'm either a part of or invested in, and I truly 100% believe in. And otherwise, my audience knows me so well that they're going to see right through that. If I'm going on there and promoting a chicken sandwich, like they're going to be like, Amanda, really sell out. So at the same time, it's like you want to do things that benefits your audience, that they'd be interested in. You want to do things that are great products, like, you know, things that you actually believe in and would use. And I always try to get like if I do a brand deal, I try to get a hookup for my fans as well, just because it's like me doing something nice for them also on a product that they would already want to use.
Yeah.
So it's beneficial and they appreciate that.
This is Jasmine Starr, everybody.
Hi guys, how are you? I'm so excited.
I'm
Thank
excited
you,
too.
Any social platform, you must make the commitment to say, this is how often I'm going to show up. I recommend at minimum once a day.
Okay, is that different? Let's get granular here.
Yeah.
Is that different based on the platform? In other words, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, is it the same apply to you?
At minimum, once a day.
At minimum on either one once a day.
I would say on both of them.
Okay.
I'm every day, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I am most active on Facebook, even
Yes.
though my audience is most engaging on Instagram.
Got it.
Trying to figure out, like with every algorithm change, you have to treat the platform as if you're going on a new date with somebody.
Yeah,
like,
right.
how are you doing? Let me see, how is this changing for us?
Yes.
And so I think it's really important for me to create content on a consistent basis.
Okay.
And with Instagram, engagement matters the most.
Okay.
So it's like by you showing up every day, you're basically creating a little template for yourself. When your audience responds, you say, oh, let me double down on these types of posts.
Okay.
When they don't respond, this is a very clear indication that they want to see less of that from you. So instead of us being so tethered to this idea as like, I'm a real estate agent, I must show houses. I'm a real estate agent, I show keys opening a door.
Yeah.
It's like, but when you post photos of you walking through the house or you delivering champagne to new homeowners and that gets a ton of interaction, show the champagne to the homeowner.
Wow, how powerful is that? You just taught me something because I seem to, even on my, thank you. I hope everybody caught that because I make that mistake myself. It's like, I kind of have these posts that I know everybody should like.
Yes.
And they don't.
Right.
And I keep creating the same one thinking, and every single time it's the same genre, the same look, or the same thing.
Ed, the market has spoken, homie.
But it's so true though. Like, I'm glad you're saying that. Like, the market will speak to you. This is huge, right? So you're watching what the market indicates. That's powerful. Is your content the same on each platform?
That's a great question.
Okay.
Now, the answer used to be no. I was
Okay.
trying to create content independent of each platform, trying
Yeah.
to show up, and I realized that I just didn't have enough time in the day.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do is to create content on each platform, but I wasn't sharing it on the same day or the same time.
Oh, wow.
Because oftentimes studies have shown that when there's a high likelihood that if somebody's on Instagram, they likely have a Facebook account. And if they're scrolling through Instagram, they might pop over to Facebook.
Yes.
They're on their social at the same time.
Yes.
And so if they like both my Facebook page and my Instagram account, there's a good chance that they're gonna see the same content.
Yes.
And I don't wanna make it feel like I'm not paying attention and fostering unique conversations in each of those platforms.
Okay.
So hypothetically,
All right, keep going. I'm writing that
okay,
down.
good. If I post like a post on Tuesday morning on Instagram, I might post that same post on Thursday night on Facebook.
Okay.
I might post it on Wednesday afternoon on Twitter. I'm just trying to regurgitate the content, but making sure that it's specific. Now, I'm just gonna go off and like jive a little.
Give it.
Riff. Like, and look, I'm not even cool. I don't even know how to talk cool.
Yeah, you're cool.
On Instagram, what I see a lot of business owners doing is taking the same photo and automatically pushing it to Facebook.
Yes.
Which is a big no-no.
Okay.
You can use the same photo, but what I want people to do is to independently upload to Facebook, because the thing that happens is that @mentions on Instagram and hashtags on Instagram that are highly effective
Yes.
don't translate over to Facebook.
Right.
And so what people say are they see broken @mentions, they see hashtags that don't work or don't lead anywhere.
Okay.
And so what happens is subconsciously, as viewers are watching this, they're saying, oh, Bonnie, the real estate agent, is having a conversation on Instagram, but she's just really depositing over here on Facebook. And then
Yes.
people wonder, why aren't people engaging with my content here on Facebook?
Okay.
It's because you're not having the conversation on Facebook.
Wow.
Same photo, bring it over here. No more @mentions. You're going to be tagging other pages that are like relevant to the conversation you're having.
Oh my goodness.
The conversations exist in both platforms, but in a way that people are engaging on those platforms.
This is huge what you're saying, because that's another mistake I've made. Another mistake I've made is I've sent it over there, and you're exactly right. The hashtags are there, and I can tell they kind of know I'm just dumping over to Facebook sometimes.
But I did notice on Twitter, you're banging on Twitter. You're not pushing over your Instagram photos to Twitter. You're doing independent uploads. I watched.
Well, here's why I don't, by the way. So I was doing that. What she's referring to is I used to just send my Instagram post over to Twitter,
Yes.
and I read your blog. Maybe.
Shut up!
No, I did. I
Get
read your
out,
blog.
Ed,
If you
get
go,
out.
no, it's true.
Get
If you look, I'm pretending like I'm hearing this for the first time, but the truth is, I've made the mistake on Facebook, but on Twitter, I learned from your blog. I'm like, wow, like she's exactly right. I'm just dumping. My Twitter followers started to figure out like, what's the point of following him on here? And so,
If we're trying to build a brand and have long-term sustainable growth, it's very good to niche a market. Now, just because you niche doesn't mean that you won't appeal to other people. I believe, based on your content, you have a very large male following.
Yep.
But it doesn't feel like, I don't feel like I can't follow what you're doing.
Right.
I just know that you're creating content that appeals to a specific gender. And I
Right.
think that that's great.
Right,
I think
right.
it's powerful because you're saying, this is my tribe, this is who I'm
Yep.
going for. Other people are welcomed.
Yes.
So it's important that you do that. So you're already one great step in there.
Okay.
Once you understand who you're marketing to,
Okay.
when you have that person in their mind, like that person's a real person.
Yeah.
You know how old they are, you know if they're married, do they have kids, where do they live, how much money they make, what car do they drive, where do they go on vacation, what was the most recent YouTube video that they watched,
Yeah.
what pages on Facebook do they like?
Okay.
Get in their mind.
Okay.
Then you create content for them.
Yeah.
Not like, this is a promotional piece for my business.
Right.
This is, how can my business help you?
Yep.
How can my business empower you?
Yes.
Or how can my business diminish fear? We want to make sure that our social media endeavors really hone in on that, because there's too many people in the fitness space. There's too many photographers, too many graphic designers, there's too many bakers. There's too many people doing the same damn thing.
Yeah, you're
How
right.
do we stick out?
Okay.
Our messaging comes, it's not about our business, it's what our business does for you.
Oh God, that's huge.
And so when we do this,
huge.
so now that we're here, we
That's
brought
huge.
it up, we
Right.
built it up,
Yeah.
let's get into hashtags.
Okay, that is huge what you just said though. Let's stay there. It's what I'm giving it to you. What your business does, right? Not
Yes.
so. Oh my gosh, that's big time, big time. All of you, no matter what your platform is, because I want to just share something with you. I struggle with that just because I watch guys in my space, the men in my space, right? And I can tell like certain people, I won't name who they are, but I can tell they're really their guy is only a 25-year-old below in male, right? Or theirs is just a fitness person. And for me, I really do want to appeal to everybody that is appealable with my content, whether it be a woman or a man or a guy my age, 47, or a 24-year-old. And so I do try to think about that because the market is so big. And so I want to acknowledge, I do what Jasmine said. When I'm creating content, I do think about, because my market is vast, how do I appeal to all these different people with the content that I'm creating, knowing I can't reach everybody with every post. And so huge about what your business does or for me, right? So talk about the hashtag thing now. So now
that we know who we're talking to,
Okay.
now that we know that we're talking to the 25-year-old who lives in Chicago,
Yeah.
who has a side hustle, but during the daytime he's driving Uber. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I want you to get
Sure.
really granular. Who is this person?
Okay.
Because when this person becomes real to you,
Okay.
you create content that appeals to them, and then you are really smart with your hashtags.
Okay.
So for instance, if you're creating entrepreneur content,
Okay.
the knee-jerk reaction would be to hashtag entrepreneur, business startup,
Yeah.
business minded.
Okay.
And then what happens is the other people in your industry and sphere are using entrepreneur,
Yeah.
business minded,
right.
hustler.
Right.
So then we wonder, why are people only in my industry following me? Because you're only using hashtags that industry peers are using. So now if we go back and we say, how does Seth, living in Chicago, driving Uber, who has a side hustle, he wants to become a videographer, how do I, as in my shoes, if Seth was my ideal client, how do I create social media content for Seth? I'm using masculine-driven images. I'm making references that a 25-year-old guy would like and know and understand.
Yep.
I'm making music references to who I think he's listening to, hip-hop references. What kind of car does he drive for Uber? Like, I'm creating content that gets into his psyche, because anytime a consumer of social media is looking at a piece of content that feels like it's tailor-made for them, they will follow, they will spend more, they will wait more, they will support more, they will evangelize more. Tailor-made content allows you to build a tribe. Now, I'm not about metrics.
Okay.
I mean, it's great that we have all these numbers and that's
Yeah.
fantastic, but really, I firmly believe, as God is my witness, a business will go farther with 1,000 avid followers than 10,000 followers who are just passive, I'm gonna scroll on by.
100% agree
So
with
we
that.
build a tribe, but you
Yeah.
build a tribe by creating content that people want to see, and then insert yourself in social situations. Because then if I was creating content for Seth, I'm not hashtagging entrepreneur, because
Okay.
Seth doesn't identify yet with
Yeah,
being an
right,
entrepreneur.
right, he's not there
What
yet.
does he identify with?
Yeah.
Well, the music that he's listening to,
Okay.
the side hustle.
Okay.
If he listens to podcasts like Ed Mylett,
Yeah.
I might be hashtagging
Right.
your podcast,
Exactly.
so that when he's like, oh, this podcast, how does Jasmine's information come here? Who is this person? Oh, she's
Wonderful.
creating content for me.
You're the youngest person I've ever had on the show.
Oh,
And
okay.
I think you're gonna teach people an awful lot of things. But is there any advice you would give just in general to people who are creating content that they want people to see, so it grows their brand, it grows their company, it could grow their income? Which overall content advice would you give?
Yeah, I mean, one huge thing, and everyone says this, but no one seems to follow it, is like consistency is key. Like, I've said that so many times to people, and they'll be like, yeah, and then they go and they post, twice a day for 2 weeks and then it doesn't work out and they're like, I'm quitting. That's not the trick. That's not the trick. Like I took 2 years where I was posting 5 videos a day on TikTok. It was Musically at the time, but 2 years, 5 videos a day plus live streaming for 4 hours every single night from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. straight, 4 hours. Because I knew the only way I was going to be able to get ahead of the millions and millions of people that are doing social media was to just outwork them. So that's what I did. I went live all the time. I posted all the time. And then also you got to make stuff that's passionate. Like you got to care about what you're creating. You can't just go and copy someone. Like I can't just go look at Bryce's content and be like, all right, I'm going to post the exact same thing on YouTube, the exact same style, or else you're never going to grow. People are just going to look at you as the copycat kid.
Yeah.
And you need to build out your own identity. It's super important. But yeah, those like building out your own identity and staying true to yourself and then consistency are like the 2 most important things.
So beautiful. I want to go down that road because I did that too. Well, I didn't do to the extent you did, which is why I don't have 30 million. I have 10 million. And you know, guys, one thing about it too, you look at these young guys in Sway House. If you don't know what it is, Google it, ask your kids, you'll know in about 1 minute. But one of the things I said to Bryce is I don't think people understand the amount of work. It looks like a party. It looks like you're having a blast. It is work to create content. But the thing you said in the content that I think most people don't appreciate is you really, that identity thing, you're more revealing who you are. You're showing parts of your life. It's like, I think some people think on social media, because it's what I do a lot, is like, here's a tip, here's a key. I'm an influencer, you know, that somehow if you're not bringing value all the time, but I think it's just like documenting your life. I mean,
100%.
With all due respect to you, you know, I don't think an 18-year-old's life who's carrying on in LA is any more or less interesting than a 40-year-old mother who's trying to get her kids off to school and get to work every day, right?
No, exactly. And there's just a whole different side of entertainment that comes with that, right? Like I have a different life, so I can show the entertaining things in mine. But like you said, a mother is going to have a total like different side of it. Like 3 kids, let's say they had 3 kids, like my mom has 3 kids. If she would have set up a video camera and filmed me and my siblings growing up, I'm sure she would have had a ton of followers because we were crazy. But also just like there's so much entertainment in people's daily lives that they don't even realize.
That's exactly what I want to, brother. If we do nothing on the show, it's those two things. Because I'm so glad you said it, because one, I believe consistency of posting. You know, the amount you did is more of an I did, but it's every day I put something out. But people value themselves. They think, I'm not interested. Who the heck wants to know about me? What you're not getting is Josh and Bryce and these other guys are the ultimate example of what we're average, ordinary, everyday teenagers.
Yeah. Most normal kids. Just like I was playing sports. I was going to school dances. I was like just everyday kid, small town. No one knew me at all. Didn't come from a rich family, like nothing like that. And I just picked up my, like, I think it was probably an iPhone 5 or 4 at the time, and just started creating videos in my room. Didn't need lighting, didn't need like, it's just a phone and yourself, and you can become whatever you want to be, really.
Yeah. And are you better at it now? Like, are you better on, or did you suck on camera in the beginning? Like, give people some insight, or are you already pretty good at this from get?
I was a pretty outgoing kid. Just luckily, like I was, you know, a class clown. I would always like stand up in class, make comments. So it was kind of just, I found a different way to be that class clown. It was just on social media, right? But I definitely was not even close to as good as I like at the start to now. It like every single day when I was going live, I was getting better and better. I was finding different strategies to like entertain my followers, because at the start, people would be like, this live is boring. I don't want to watch it anymore.
Yes.
So I had to find new ways to spice it up all the time. I was playing different games. I was like engaging them with liking the video. If they would double tap it, I would play like, if every 10K likes, I would go and react to my fans' videos, or I would guess them on the live stream. It was just thinking of creative ways to keep it entertaining.
Yeah, I want everyone to get this. So you got to start to document your life, and what you think isn't interesting isn't for people the first time. But if I see you with your kids 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, I post my little Pomeranians all the time, my dogs, right? Everybody's got dogs, but I post them consistently, and people start like, I wonder what my dogs don't do anything cuter than your dogs, but I post them consistently, and they become something of an addiction when people start watching you. All of a sudden, you've got more followers. Guys, just picture it this way. You take Josh, 20 million on TikTok, 30 million overall. Okay. He has more than 99.9% of the top recording artists in the world, actors, actresses, and way more than most athletes, give or take 5 people on the planet, okay? And in my case, I've got, several million people as well, and my first post got 8 likes, and I just kept posting regularly until people caught on. Let me ask you a question about young people. So if I'm an entrepreneur, I'm either a young entrepreneur or I'm a business that I want to market to them more. I want to recruit young business people. I want to sell to young people. What do young people want? Educate us in my audience. And by the way, there's tons of 18 and 20-year-olds listening to this right now, 2 and 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
But what do young people want on social? And what do young people want in terms of their ambitions in their career? What's important to 16 to 30-year-olds right now?
I mean, for me, I always looked at like the workspace and I was like, I want to do something more than just the normal, right? Like, and I think that's for a lot of Gen Z kids now is because there's so much opportunity out there. No one just wants to be the regular guy that goes to college, has like works a 9-to-5 office space, like the same old, that tradition that everyone's done since like college has been a thing, right? So I think that for me personally, it was like, how can I make sure I just find something more exciting or find something, and it was like creating content. But it's really just anything that is different now. People want to be different. I've always just been a person that's driven by numbers. So what I do is I'm tracking my numbers all the time. If that's like in growth, if that's like how many likes I'm getting per post, how many comments, the like how many people I'm converting a day from my TikTok to my Instagram. And when I'm tracking that stuff, I'm making sure it's never going down. Like that's what keeps me driven to just go up, up, and up. The only thing I have to say about that is like, you just need to make sure you don't lose yourself in the content and trying to always beat the old content by going crazier and crazier, because I think that that is a road we went down. Like Sway, when we started getting in a lot of trouble in the media, there was a point when we were just always trying to outdo ourselves, and that got us in trouble. But we kept going and we kept pushing ourselves forward. So in the end, we did it. We made it work. But you just can't get comfortable. If that's putting yourself even in uncomfortable situations, like starting YouTube or going on a brand new podcast, or like just add depth to your portfolio, so then you're never comfortable.
You guys were listening to an 18-year-old. I mean, so just what you said, so, I coach large groups of entrepreneurs. I have something called RT Syndicate where I coach entrepreneurs. One of the things I'm psycho about is tracking metrics and data. I cannot get over how many people that are either entrepreneurs or even in like fitness. So they say they want to get fit. They don't track their calorie intake. They don't track their water intake. They're not specific about the weights and the reps, right? You know this.
Yes, I know. I'm tracking my calories right now. I'm trying to get, every day I'm trying to get like 3,500 calories right now.
Yeah, and I'm trying to not eat 3,500 because I'm more than double your age, right? But the same exact thing. You're trying to gain weight, but like, how are you going to get super fit if you're not tracking it, if you're not measuring your body fat? As an entrepreneur, I meet so many entrepreneurs, they don't know their data. They've got no idea how many contacts are, how many leads, what's in the pipeline, what their revenues, and like, it's brilliant to hear that on social, which is your main business, you're a psycho about the metrics and the data. It's awesome.